Good evening, folks. Welcome to Echo's Reloading Chamber. I want to welcome our guest, BBQ, to the show. He's a good friend of ours, and basically, I just wanted to bring him on the show and kind of find out what he's got going on. Welcome to the show, BBQ.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate the invite.
Not a problem, brother. We're going to get into some good stuff tonight. AR, why don't you go ahead and welcome the side chat and roll the show.
Hey everyone, glad to see you all over there. Appreciate you dropping by. Appreciate Echo having me on, and it's good to see you, Guns BBQ. Let me call off a few people here before we get going. Hey DJ, Gunpowder Beauty, MK Joe, good to see you. Who else? Uncle John, good to see you, Uncle. Michael Hurtnick, good to see you, Michael, as always. Who else? That's it for right now. But glad you all are with us. Thank you for taking your time to join us. Take it away, Echo.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So, BBQ, how long have you been a gun owner?
Oh, well, made my, shoot. If you count getting BB gun when I was 3, it would be 29 years. But if you're talking when I could legally purchase my first firearm, would have been 18.
Okay.
So it would be 14 years now.
What was your first gun?
Well, my very first firearm I had received from my grandfather after he passed away when I was 8, which was a Model 99 300 Savage. And then the first gun that I bought myself was a Remington 700 BDL mountain model, chambered in 30-06.
Oh, okay.
I'm familiar with that gun, BDL.
Awesome gun.
Do you own one of those, AR?
I always wanted one. I got the ADL.
Oh, okay.
Without a floor plate and a little bit less nice finish. So.
And that's 30-06 as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I always wanted the BDL though.
Yeah, that mountain model is so light. That thing just thumped.
Yeah, I've seen some of those mountain light ones before.
So you decided, you owned guns since you're 18. So obviously, did you hunt too as well, or?
Yeah, grew up hunting. That was kind of a way of life with family and whatnot. Primarily just deer. I didn't get into turkey hunting until I was probably 21 or so, then really enjoyed turkey hunting. Other than that, it was just deer and some small game. But small game was only because I like to eat it. My parents weren't big on it. And so it was primarily just deer hunting. But with the way Pennsylvania is, we could usually get 2 or 3 doe tags plus a buck tag for the WMU that we were hunting. And I mean, that was per person. So we were usually trying to stack up 6 to 9 deer in the freezer each deer season. So, and then we would just, live off deer meat all year. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I got the 300 Savage when I was 9. Then my parents bought me Model 110 30-06 in a synthetic stock. That had some bedding issues, we believe. I believe now. All we knew at the time was that didn't matter how much we adjusted the scope to the right. That thing just kept shooting left. It was off something terribly, and that was at 25 yards. So they ended up selling that. Later on, found me a Model 110 chambered in 308s. Never even got to shoot that rifle because financial things come up and guns get sold. So my mom was going to sell her 30-30, and that was the first gun that she ever got a deer with. And I said, no. I was like, sell this one. I've never even shot it, let alone gotten anything with it. So really no sentimental value there other than you guys bought it for me. I was probably, I don't know, 15 or 16 at that point. So they went, sold that. And I would love to get another one because awesome gun. I actually just did get one, but I gave it to my father for his birthday instead. I was going to keep it for myself, but I knew he needed a new hunting rifle, and I was like, you know what? This would be a good birthday present. So I had just picked up a Model 110 and 308 and gave it away anyways.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, to help out. Kind of like pay it forward type of thing.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some people that if they come and say, hey, you know, I've got this problem or that problem, you know, I'm more than happy to go to the gun shop with them, look around, things like that. If I've got something laying around that I haven't shot in years, I don't really care for, or something like that, and they don't have the funds, I mean, it depends on who it is, their situation, all kinds of things. It's not like I just give away guns willy-nilly.
Yeah.
But, you know, I might say, hey, you know, like here in PA, we got transfers on handguns. So if it's a handgun, you know, I can't just give it to you. You know, you're going to have to go in and pay the $20 or $30 at the LGS. But other than that, that's only happened a few times in my life. And obviously, you know, I can obviously gift a firearm to a family member, no problem. So, like I said, with my dad's birthday and whatnot this year, I was like, you know what, he can have that. No big deal.
So what made you start a YouTube channel and bring you into the Second Amendment?
Well, I guess we should start with what got me into the YouTube gun community, and that it's a short story, I promise. I was driving truck. I was tired of listening to everything that was the same old crap on Sirius XM, and trying to swap out CDs while I was running down the road, or hitting the seek button to find a good FM station, because, you know, you're bouncing through different areas, you know, so every 30 minutes you're losing a radio station, having to try and pick up a new one. And so I just started plugging my phone into the auxiliary port and listening to stuff on YouTube, like podcasts, different things like that. And there was some gun thing, I don't even remember what it was, that I had looked up that I was kind of interested in, and I think it was a Yankee Marshall video that I had stumbled onto, and then that led me into his, I know, but it led me into his live chats, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's this whole community here. That was 9 years ago almost. But I was like, holy cow. And the entire time that I was driving truck, it was kind of an idea that I had, but I was like, how in the world are you going to do any of that while driving truck? Which, I mean, knowing what I know now, I could have done it the whole freaking time. I was kind of like, crap. But so with that, about 3.5 years ago, I had a condition called hydrocephalus that cost me the solid majority of my vision. I've got probably 5 to 10% of it remaining. It's not anything significant at all. And I found that I had a lot of free time. So I was sitting at home one day, and I was kind of wondering to myself, you know, how could I do this? And I was like, you know, I won't be able to read comments, interact with fans, all kinds of things like that. And then I was watching Never Enough Ammo, and Patriot in the Dark kept popping up there. And then he was doing some sort of giveaway contest thing. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think he was looking for somebody down in the New Orleans area, if I remember correctly. And that's when I really first heard that, oh, Patriot's blind. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. And so it got the juices flowing a little bit more, made me think about it. But I was like, I don't know. And, you know, I didn't have any idea how to get a hold of Patriot, anything. So eventually, I don't want to say that I procrastinate, because it's not that I'm putting things off on purpose. It's just I'm doing something right now. So let's say I had the idea of being like, Echo, do you have a Patreon?
No, I do not.
Okay, well, hypothetically, let's say Echo has a Patreon, and I'll be like, I'm going to go subscribe to Echo's Patreon right now, but I'm in the middle of a chat, so I'm not going to do that right now. Well, by the time we're done chatting, I'll completely forget. And that has happened to me where I think for almost 2 years, I meant to become a patron of G-Webs. I just, when it would pop into my head, I was busy doing something. By the time I got done, just slipped my mind. So, finally remembered, oh yeah, go become a patron of G-Webs. So I go do that, and then I'm getting these email notifications saying, hey, live show tonight, jump in, yada yada yada, for Daily Gun Show. And I thought the link was just to go and view it from like this backstage area, which I was like, that'd be kind of cool, rather than just watch it on YouTube. And so I go and check that out, and it's asking for permissions and stuff. I'm like, why does it want permission for my mic and my camera? Like, because I had heard, I can hear somebody in the background or something. So I thought, oh, maybe, I can just kind of interact with the host, but, never thought in a million years I'd be on. And next thing I know, I jump in there, and G-Web's like, hey, how's it going? Who are you? I'm like, oh, what the frick did I just do? And so G-Web's always likes to make the joke now. He needs to trick more blind guys into, doing this 2A stuff. But after going on DGS for probably a month or so, talking to G-Webs and back chats and whatnot, finally, he was just like, you should create a channel. I'm like, I don't know about that. He's like, no, seriously, you got good stuff to say. You should create a channel. And I was like, I don't know how I would go about this. He's like, get a hold of Patreon in the dark. He's like, his email should be out there somewhere. Just get a hold of him. So I got a hold of Patriot after being tricked and peer pressured by G-Webs. And Patriot gave me a few tips and tricks of things that he was using, and the rest is history. So if anybody doesn't like me, blame those two.
That's a pretty awesome story, dude. AAR, you got any questions for Mr. Barbecue?
You're muted.
You're muted, or you lost your audio.
Hey.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just reading the side chat. You can go ahead and ask the questions, Echo.
Is there anybody in the side chat that has any questions for Barbecue?
At this point, somebody said I can see his big noggin.
Oh, is that it?
DM.
Oh,
DM initial. Yeah. Must be Guns N Barbecue. Good to see you in here. Gun-loving grandpa's with us, Chris, 740. Somebody just said they subbed all our channels. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for doing that. We all appreciate it very much. So, Barbecue, what do you have planned? Where do you see your channel in the next 5 years, brother?
Honestly, I have no idea. Recently, if you caught Almost Nightly Firearms Expo this past Tuesday, episode, I think it was 63, I mentioned that I was burnt out, and I put that right in the title, I'm burnt out. And I have put a lot of effort into the past comment periods that we just had on the redefinition of firearms and receiver and the pistol brace BS. And I was just feeling funny, and I couldn't put my finger on it, and it just finally hit me that, oh, you're burnt out. And having just put that title, and then when I sent out the links for people to join in the conversation that night, I had mentioned, hey guys, I'm burnt out. I got no topics. If you come with something to talk about. Otherwise, it's just going to be a goof around episode. And so somebody had reached out to me, and somebody that I would consider a mentor so far, and gave me some pretty sound advice, and it kind of rejuvenated me getting that message, and hearing their kind words and their thoughts, and definitely something helpful. So right now I'm kind of reevaluating how I'm doing everything, and how I'm going to be formatting and what is going to be happening next. So in the next 5 years, there's a couple things I'm doing, like the Two Way Women Wednesday podcast, which I feel like that could be something pretty darn good. I have 6 episodes on that so far. Biggest problem I'm having is just getting guests to say, yeah, I'm coming on and we're going to do this. It's going to be awesome. And all the conversations I've had have been phenomenal. So I would, in 5 years, I would really hope that is going somewhere and has taken off. But I'm not in this to make money or anything like that, which people are probably like, then why do you have a Patreon? I got a Patreon because DJ Play Nice out there in PNW Woods peer pressured me, and apparently I give into peer pressure on things like that. It's kind of like Echo. He's like, you should do these logos and charge $20. I'm like, I don't know, I'm not in it for money. He's like, you should do it, dude. So now I'm charging $20 for logos. But yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, kind of in a rebuilding phase at this moment, I guess you could say. I shouldn't even say rebuilding, just reprocessing everything and trying to buckle back down. I don't want to just become one of those channels that is doing just live chats. I've got a series on my channel called What Is A, where it's very firearms 101 for new firearms owners. And recently I've been having a lot of them pop in and leave comments. I'm like, that's really cool. Did you see this playlist? They're like, no. So I link them to the playlist and whatnot. But like I said, when I say it's very firearms 101, it's like, what is a striker fired pistol? What is a double action only pistol, etc. So for people that aren't new to firearms, those are very dry videos, and they're like, I already know all this. I know, but there's people out there that don't. So I like to be doing something with that. I don't know how long it will last. I feel like there's only so much you can do with that, but there's still a lot of ideas that I have. I think I got a notebook with like 60 different video ideas just for that series, and I really need to get back to that. As far as the barbecue thing, I try and do videos as I can with that. Before the chat here, you were talking about with the reloading, it's expensive to do a reloading video, and same deal with a barbecue video. These channels that are just barbecue channels and they're doing 3 briskets in a row, you could be talking about $150 to $200, and you're talking at that price. You're talking choice or maybe prime if you got it on sale for a brisket, for those briskets. So barbecue videos are pretty expensive. Part of me has thought about, maybe in that 5 years, making a B channel that will just be, barbecue. But at the same time, I kind of look at the barbecue as a way to kind of draw people in that may not be firearms owners, that may be on the fence or something like that, and then they see, oh, this guy's making this great barbecue, oh, he's into guns too, what's this? And then here we go. Perhaps we have somebody new. So at the same time, I don't know if I ever really will do the barbecue stuff as its own channel, because I feel like that little crossover area that I could have will be lost then. Plus, it's going to be really funny tuning into a channel called Guns N BBQ and there being no BBQ on the channel anymore.
Yeah. I enjoy your Wednesday women's chats with the different women that you bring on the show. I've said many times to my subscribers that if we can get women in this country to start pushing for the Second Amendment and gun ownership, we have already won. I mean, that's basically how it is. And I'm seeing a very big uptake women are one of the largest groups buying firearms right now in this country. And and it's just amazing to finally see women doing this and taking a stand for the Second Amendment and protection of themselves and their family. A lot of women, I worked at quite a few different gun shops and owned one for a while. Basically, women, I found, they say, well, could you shoot someone if they were trying to hurt you? And a lot of women would say yes. Some would say, I don't know, but ask them the same question about their children. And it was absolutely every time, of course, I would defend them with my life if needed be.
Yep.
And so I'm really glad to see you taking the initiative on that to interview these great women of the Second Amendment and gun owners and a lot of new gun owners. It's really interesting. What have you found out in doing these interviews? Anything that surprised you or anything about it?
Well, there's a couple things. One, the reason I started doing that project was everything that the DC project is doing. Those ladies are absolutely phenomenal, and they're putting the bill on their own. They don't have any big corporate money-making machine behind them like the NRA or anything like that. These ladies are traveling to DC and meeting with their state reps and whatnot on their own dime. And when you hear them talk and the way that they can make the arguments against gun control, there's just a way that they can do it that us as men can't. They can connect on an emotional level. And while it's cliche, you always picture that guy that's at the rally or something, shall not be infringed. Well, that's not doing anything. But, when an actual single mother goes in to meet with a state rep and says, you're taking away my right to protect this, that's a big deal. And it got me thinking about, like you just said, Echo, there's the fastest growing demographic, I believe, in firearms is the female demographic. But one of the things I noticed is when I look at my analytics say male, 100%, female, 0.0%. I don't have any females watching my channel, and from what I've gathered from a lot of other creators, they don't have a female audience hardly at all either. Now, Roll Call 219, I heard him in a chat say the one night that he's got like 10.9% female viewership, but that's just because he's a stud. They're just tuning in for some eye candy. But no, so it got me thinking, and I had also realized I don't see a lot of female content creators. I was like, they've got to be out there, and sure enough, they are. You just have to seek them out, and I mean, the things they're doing are incredible. And now to answer your question, what have I learned? I guess one of the things that kind of surprises me each time is we always hear guys say in chats, get her a revolver. Revolver's a great gun for a woman. They love them. My wife got a revolver. She loves it. That's great. That's your wife. Now, I've only done 6 of these interviews, but I believe 4 out of the 6, so 2/3, were like, yeah, revolver's not for me. Don't like it. Or they just never even shot a revolver. And so that one kind of caught me off guard, because you do hear so many guys say, my wife loves a revolver, it's great, you got her the Charter Arms 38 lady, whatever, and I'm like, cool, I'm glad she does.
I did the same thing. I push revolvers to women than you people.
Yeah,
there's a reason I did it though.
So now, personally, I am a revolver guy, so whenever somebody's talking to me about firearms, I'm like, have you considered a revolver? I actually had a blind viewer reach out to me. He's from the Philadelphia area, and he was asking me questions, and he was going to go with a Glock 43, mainly because he had a Glock Gen 1, which I was like, holy cow, do you still have that? He's like, no. I was like, that might be worth some money. That kind of stinks. Sorry, dude. But so he was just going to get a Glock because he had a Glock 20, 30 years ago, but he hadn't carried since he had gotten rid of that, like 20 years, maybe 30 years ago. So I was like, holy cow. It was sometime after he had lost his vision, but for the things we were talking about, things like that, I was like, you should possibly consider a revolver. Just check it out. You know, you said you have ranges that you can go to where you can try these things out. Go try one. And sure enough, he eventually ordered a revolver from my LGS because the LGSs down where he was would not special order anything for him. So my LGS ordered it and sent it down to his LGS, and I guess he's made several other purchases from my LGS now, which it's gotten me a free box of ammo. I was like, well, that's kind of cool, thanks. But yeah, I think a lot of people nowadays, they overlook revolvers. I think they are awesome, though. My everyday carry, if I'm not carrying my 1911, is my 329 PD Smith & Wesson.
Yeah, there's a reason you hear old stories of guys, they always want a safety, but lies the problem with the safety. Safety guns require more training. Here lies Glock's future, and all these striker fires. They take less training. You don't need very little training to shoot them. But there's the problem. Once you get in the hands of the women and they go to a range and they sitting there jerking and they don't move their finger and they forget, boom, there goes a round somewhere. If you go in a gun range, you can see bullets everywhere usually. And most of the time, that's not from a revolver. That's usually from a semi. I know it sounds strange, but that's what the facts are.
Yeah, I would say it's called.
They don't get enough training on it. You have to really get training on a semi.
But it's not memory. Women. It's you'd be amazed at. Oh yeah, the majority are guys. It's amazing the stories that you'll hear about ladies that are training and going to training classes, and a lot of times they're one of the top shots in the class. They're not always the top shot, but they're top three. They do phenomenal. And I think part of that is ladies inherently are able to multitask better than guys, so perhaps it's they're able to focus on that front sight picture. They're able to focus on how they're pulling all those things that come together to make a good shot. Ladies are great at multitasking, and might sound sexist, I don't know, but I think that might be one reason that when you hear about these ladies that are terrific shots, they're just great multitaskers.
Well, I've actually set in for over 190 classes of concealed weapons and basic handgun safety. That was part of my job, was to sit in and take notes and rate classes here in Florida. And basically the biggest difference that I noticed between men and women in basic handgun safety and concealed weapons classes is that women listen to the instructors. Mm-hmm. They're not familiar with handguns. They're usually less exposed to handguns and firearms in general. So they tend to listen to what the instructor's telling them, where men think that they were born with, a firearm in their hand, tend to ignore common instruction and make mistakes on the range. And that's what I've noticed over years of being around men and women. I've always thought that women were, now I'm sure there's exceptions to the rule, like with everything, but for more practical purposes, I've seen women be more safe on the ranges compared to new gun owner women to new gun owner men. Just I've seen them follow the rules more explicitly than men. I've just seen it time and time again over the years.
Indeed, and that's another great assessment. I've seen a lot of guys that are just dipsticks because, like you said, they think, "Oh man, I walked out of my mother's womb with this 500 Smith & Wesson in my hand. Check this out."
Yeah, sometimes you see men do things. I've basically I've seen some crazy stuff before. I've seen guys go into the range, and you could just tell the one guy is a new gun owner, and he wants to buy the baddest, biggest gun, big bore gun that we sell in the store. And it back in the day, it was like a 454 Casull, and I personally sold that gun, the exact same gun, 5 times, and resold it another 3 or 4 more times after that, because they would buy it, go and shoot a box, and not sometimes not even a whole box of shells, and bring it back in and just be like, oh yeah, this is way uncomfortable, I can't shoot this.
Yep.
Have you all read the statistics across the United States? Police officers, what happens when they carry striker fire handguns?
What's that?
They typically shoot too many rounds. They typically miss their target. They typically forget in training videos. They forget and freak out that their finger is still on the trigger, and they swear to God that finger was not on that trigger. And that happens in constant police training.
Yeah, but that happens a lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It is happening. Yeah, they watch video. The trainers are watching them, and they'll go, "No, your hand was on the trigger." Mm-hmm. That's because their muscle memory is not right. So they're working on trying to figure out a way to stop that or curtail that.
But that's the thing. You just said the problem, which it's not the firearm. It's not striker fire pistols. It's muscle memory.
Yeah, but unfortunately, under stress, we can't always cope with that stress. One guy can cope with stress under a gunfight. One guy can't. And that's the way it is with cops. One can handle it, one can't. And it's just a fact.
We need to do better of regulation or better finding out which cops to hire. This is more of quota hiring problems. This is people being hired as law enforcement officers that have no business carrying a firearm and wearing a badge. That's what that problem is. That has nothing to do with the firearm itself causing the issue. It has everything to do with the person, which if you look at most mishaps with firearms, it has to do with people not following the basic safety rules of gun handling. And, and that can be it's like 90% of all accidental shootings would have been prevented if you would have just if you would have just followed the basic safety rules, keeping it pointed in a safe direction primarily, number one, and then checking to see if the firearm is loaded.
Gunpowder Beauty's got a good comment there. I
what
wish
is
I could highlight it. I wish we could all at least get it highlighted, but that's just a pretty good take on it. She shot a Colt 357. That's a fine firearm, especially if it's the old, depending on what model code it is. I remember when a Colt Python was $700-something locally here in Georgia. There you go.
Yeah, my uncle bought one years ago, a Python for, I think he said $850, and I'm trying to think when that was. That was probably back in 2008, 2009.
That grip is a big issue with a lot of ladies. I've talked to them about it. And my handgun comes with 4 grips, my MP 2.0. So if I can shoot it, I can put a grip on it and hand it to a girlfriend or my granddaughters, and they can get it where they can fit it. So I just bring all the grips in a case.
Yeah, those
I don't care.
Back straps are nice.
Mm-hmm.
So barbecue, what exactly is so you saying that you want to you were a little burnt out, and now you've kind of got a recharge on it, and you're redoing some stuff, or you're basically taking a sabbatical?
I'm still doing everything like I was. I'm not gonna stop doing anything and step away, but if for the next week or two my live shows are a bit lacking or anything like that, that's why. like I mentioned on my show on Tuesday, we got bombarded with everything. Biden won, so we knew we were going to have this uphill fight. And next thing you know, there's talk about Chipman. We're like, oh, this guy's awful, yada yada yada. We all know the story about him. Then they're like, oh, here's a comment period, and we're like, oh, great. So now we gotta battle Chipman's nomination, and
no, he's gone. He's
yeah, I know, but this is chronicling this past year. So we're having to worry about Chipman. We're having to worry about the comment period. Then they say, oh, by the way, here's another comment period. So now we got 2 comment periods to fight about at the same time, plus make sure that this Nimrod doesn't get in. And I was calling my senators a couple times a week, saying, "Hey, what's going on?" Then he's getting pushed back, all this fun jazz, and it seemed like a lot of people are like, "Oh, the ATF's going to do what they want to do," or don't even comment because you're lending credence to organizations that should have no authority. Oh, that's great, but guess what? They're being given that. So if you just choose not to comment, then they're just like, oh, people don't care. We're going to do what we want. So that's a terrible friggin' way to look at it. But then, so because people are like, oh, I'm not worried about it, ATF's just going to do what they want to do, then they're just focused on the Chipman thing, and you're hearing people talk about, this and that. I'm like, we all know he's crap, so why are we even having this conversation? Just encourage people to call your senators, make sure he does not get through. And I kept saying, he's a red herring. He's not anybody that they actually want in there. I would tell everybody, the people that they want in there, they already have in there. They got bump stocks banned. They had these comment periods put through. These people are doing what they want to do as appointed directors.
It's not good to put people as activists, anti-gun activists, in government positions.
Sorry, but yeah. So, and sure enough, the day after the second comment period ends, they're like, "Yeah, we're pulling his nomination." Really? Because I mean, and we had all these organizations going, yeah, we won, NRA, GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, FPC, all of them. We won. I'm like, we didn't win a frickin' thing. We knew what he was from the get-go. He was a distraction. And so that added to my frustration. And like I said, I just had this funny feeling by the time I got done. I mean, I was running around to local businesses when I could get out with, papers. Hey, you guys got a corkboard. Do you care if I put this up there? Just a little bit of information saying, hey, we got the comment periods, do you love your freedom, yada yada yada. Go make sure you leave comments. Here's the web addresses, and like I said, calling my own representatives and doing the shows 2 nights a week, and harping on all that and trying to do the Two-Way Women Wednesday stuff and still make video content. Then I moved in the middle of all that, and then like I said, I was just feeling funny, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Then we had the gun rights policy conference, which come up 2 weeks after or so after the comment period ended, maybe 3, and I was trying to power through that, and I just couldn't, and it just slapped me in the face. I was like, oh, I'm burnt out, and I'm not back to where I'd like to be. I wouldn't say I'm 100% where I'm like, okay, I can go all gung-ho again, but like I said, that email that I received from somebody that I would consider a mentor definitely helped rejuvenate the batteries a lot quicker than they would have been. So not 100%, I'd say probably 80% at this point, but quickly recharging.
Well said, Eagle Eye.
What did Eagle Eye say?
He said, fortunately, I don't dwell on politics. I believe effort is best spent preparing the next generation in your family. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an all-across effort, because they've been cutting at us for years, death of 1,000 little tiny cuts, and we need to hit them at every angle possible. It's a fluid movement. Every type of thing that they try to attack, we need to attack back and then progress 2 more steps further. That way we're constantly keeping them on the defense instead of us constantly being on it. So basically, barbecue. So what do you think for where you're going to be going in the next 3 months with your channel? Do you have any idea on that short of a schedule?
That short of a schedule, hopefully. Well, I'm hoping within the next month, I'll have, the chats reformatted. Have a little bit of order to those. Have the batteries fully recharged and ready to go at all this again the way I was. And I would like to get more proactive with my channel. I'm always preaching, we need to be proactive in this community, but seems like so many others, I'm hypocritical in that aspect because a lot of the things that I'm doing are reactive things, and I don't know if that is necessarily out of necessity or if it's just maybe I'm being lazy. I don't know. But, when we have things like the comment periods pop up and, Chipman and, who knows who the heck they're going to try and nominate next. But, whenever those things pop up, we have to react. And so, like I said, I don't know if I've just been lazy or if it was just the necessity of having to react to all those things at the points that we did. But like I said, I would like to get more proactive, figure out, where are they going to try and attack us next? How do we block it? And, how do we get them on the ropes, like you just said? For 90 years as a firearms community, we have compromised, and the left just keeps taking little by little. And we're sitting here going, how do we get to this? Well, it's 90 years of friggin' gun control happening. And people always, and I think it's partly an issue with today's society where we are so used to everything happening in an instant. I need to get a hold of somebody, text message, boom. Or I just need to, call somebody. Well, I don't have to wait till I get home anymore to make that phone call. I can just pull out my phone from my friggin' pocket and call on going down the road, whatever. Don't do that. I'm going to say it's probably a bad idea. I don't drive anymore, obviously. But no, so I think that could be another issue is everybody wants this instant gratification with stuff that they're doing. They just want this knockout blow for the NFA. I don't think that there is a knockout blow for the NFA. Unfortunately, we had 90 years of the other side chipping away at us and us just compromising. I shouldn't even just say the other side because Republicans are complicit in this, and it's both parties. But either way, we've let our government chip away at our rights for 90 years, so we got to start chipping back. And states that are getting constitutional carry, we got 21 now. We almost had 22 with Louisiana this year. Ohio is making a push for it this year, from what I understand. Hopefully they can get something done. Pennsylvania has a bill in the House and Senate for constitutional carry. Unfortunately, I know that's not going to go through because our governor, as soon as it hits his desk, he'll just veto it. We have both majority in the House and the Senate here in PA, but we don't have enough votes in the Senate. I think we'd have to get a couple extra votes in the House, but we'd have to get like 7 or 8 in the Senate to override a veto, and that's just too much to overcome, I think. So,
hey, Guns,
what's up?
I got a question for you. Anybody know about the reconciliation bill that's about to go through Congress?
Which one's that?
It's a bill. Reconciliation is a spending bill. They've got expanded welfare for mothers, child care, college tuition, They've got red flag laws in it, and it's about to pass. Ernest out west, she's decided she can vote for it, so it's about to go through. So it's going to be put in a spending bill. The gun control laws are, and we can't do anything about it.
And say that if it's like anything else that's recently happened, they're saying, oh, it's going to get passed through the House and it's going to go to the Senate. They'll pull it out in the Senate, and then when it comes back to the House and we re-vote on it, it won't be there. And which Senate, I think is a bunch of BS.
The Senate's already said lately they're going to vote. They are going to do it. The Republicans are going to vote for that reconciliation and allow it to go. One lady's already said so. That's horrible, but that's what we're about to be faced with, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
She said the other day that she basically sees light where she can vote on it. Now, John Cornyn out there in Texas, he's against it. A few others, but it's not enough. It's going to go through. Biggest socialist spending we've seen since 1964 is going to be in this bill. And welfare. So, but a national red flag law is horrible for us. But I won't say any more on that. Let you go ahead.
Red flag laws are horrible in the first place, just for the lack of due process. And the thing is, there's already systems in place that are legal. I mean, they do the exact same thing as a red flag law, except you have some due process. They can't just come in and take your firearms. If somebody calls and says, hey, I think this person's a harm to themselves here in PA, they send out a crisis worker. They don't send out the police, they send out a crisis worker. And they go up, they knock on your door, say, hey, we got this phone call that you're having some issues. Would you care to talk to us? And after talking to you, they'll say, hey, we think you need to go in, get evaluated, probably have a 72-hour commit. You can do it voluntarily or involuntarily, yada, yada, yada. And if you tell them to go pound salt and whatnot, they'll go and they'll get warrants from a judge. Doesn't matter what time of friggin' night it is. And if a judge says, yep, here you go, and then they'll go back and say, hey, you got two options. Come with us willingly. We'll call an ambulance, or we're going to have to call the state police, and the state police will take you forcefully and have you committed. But at that point, there's a warrant from a judge saying, hey, this person needs to be seen, whatnot, but they're not just taking your firearms.
Yeah. Red flag laws are unconstitutional and, in my opinion, illegal. But they're definitely unconstitutional. We have them here in the state of Florida, and our governor, Rick Scott, at the time, passed it after that school shooting. The Democrats kind of gave him a guilt trip, and he did that for some reason. I don't even know why exactly he did that. And we got issued those, and they've been a nightmare for people ever since. There's processes that you can use where we already have so many gun laws on the books that if you look, a lot of these gun laws are violated when you see these mass shootings, and basically they never go back and say, well, why didn't the police do anything about this subject when he was violating this law, this law, this law, and this law that was already on the books? They never go back and look on things like that. They're always like, oh, well, we need to pass more law. Well, more law isn't going to make someone obey it. You know what I'm saying? Last time I checked, murder was still illegal.
Exactly. Heroin's illegal, murder's illegal, all kinds of things are illegal, but people still find a way to do them.
Exactly. And adding more law on top of it is not going to do anything but just restrict the rights of law-abiding citizens. It's not law-abiding citizens we have to worry about to begin with.
Exactly.
So, what do you think the future holds barbecue for us?
Honestly, with the current administration that we have an uphill battle. So, right now, I think unfortunately we're going to be more reactionary. It'd be nice if we could, uh, when midterms roll around, swing the House and the Senate and send another message to Democrats like when Obama was in. But because at least then hopefully we can block some of this crap. But right now, like I said, I think we're going to have an uphill battle for now. Then, in another 3 years, we get to vote for another president. Hopefully, we get somebody that is pro-gun and actually pro-gun, not just, shouts it to get votes, and then the first massacre happens, like, oh, just whatever he used, get rid of. Sounds like a good plan. People will like that. Fuzz off. Sorry, that annoys the crap out of me. So, but overall, here in the future, I see a lot of good things happening. Like I just mentioned, Pennsylvania, Ohio, both have constitutional carry bills in their House and Senate. Again, Ohio, from what I understand, has a supermajority, so even if their governor were to veto it, from what I understand, they've got the votes to override a veto and just force this through if they want, which is, I was like, that's pretty cool. Go Ohio. Make it happen. But here in PA, we don't have the votes to override a veto, but there's a lot of states that are getting on board with constitutional carry. I think that is a great first step. And, the more cases that we have, and not even in the Supreme Court, but just hitting the circuit courts that are wins, and there's been a lot of them. It'd be nice if some of these would stop getting pulled after we get the win, such as, I believe it was the Sixth Circuit pulling their decision on bump stocks. But nonetheless, there was a win there, which I believe it was the 10th Circuit had done the same thing. They said, oh yeah, bump stocks aren't a machine gun, then they just overturned that, which I think what happened was it went to en banc and the larger majority. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the Sixth Circuit when that goes to en banc. But, getting wins in the circuit courts and whatnot is a big deal because, one, it could make other circuits go, wait a minute, do we really want to mess around and do this? Look what New York just did. We don't want to do that over here in California because they got their rear ends handed to them. So little victories like that can be big for other places to hopefully stop some infringement. But like I said, I think constitutional carry is a big one because hopefully it's going to start normalizing firearms. People start carrying more and they start carrying how they want. I'm a big proponent for open carry, so long as you're being a good ambassador for firearms and the Second Amendment when you're doing so. We don't need anybody out there acting a fool, making us look bad. There's enough of that being shown on the news every day, even though that's a super small percentage of firearms owners. I mean, what, half of a percent? It's tiny. But anyways, I really think pushing for more constitutional carry. And the other thing is, I think at some point, if we have enough states that have it, it's going to be pushed back to the spotlight in the national level. Now, before it was just national reciprocity, but I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't just be pushing for national reciprocity. We should just be pushing for national concealed carry, or excuse me, national constitutional carry.
Yeah, it's time. It really is.
Here's the issue with that, though. Once you pass that, and we'll all be going yippee yay, they'll counter 50% of gun control to go with it. That's the way Congress thinks. That's the way they act. That's the way they
So
legislate.
so great. We get our win and we fight that too. I say it's
We
always going
won't
to
we won't
happen.
win we won't win that second half. They will go
Why not?
50-50 because it don't work that way in Congress and politicians.
So we just
You
give up
get
and don't fight.
Reagan. No, it ain't got to do with giving up. It's just Congress does not work that way. They will always give something to get something, and all that what you give up is horrible. And that's the problem with trying to get anything passed. That's why the Republicans get hammered. They think they don't pass these great bills. There's a reason they're afraid of those bills at times, because they know if they do a bill and bring it in Congress, the Democrats are going to add a ton of bad bills in there, and then they're stuck with it. And if it goes through, boom.
Yeah, but the Republicans do the same thing. GOA
Well,
back when we were pushing for national reciprocity, the GOA even said, don't worry about red flag laws, because every time that they push for a red flag law, we have a senator or a House member just slip this national reciprocity in that bill. So if they want red flag laws, that's great, but then we get national reciprocity, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're not worried about red flag laws. So it works both ways.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying the facts is you're going to get a lot of gun control in anything you give. It's just the way nature of politics. It's horrible, but that's the way it works. Reagan used to say, hey, if I can get 80% and give the Democrats 20, well, now it's give 50% to the Democrats, 50 to the Republicans. If you're even lucky, actually, it's more or less give the Democrats 80% and give the Republicans 20. But I won't get into that. I've been following politics in Congress for 40-something years.
Yeah, well, politics are one thing, and gun shows are another. So that's why I don't have a politician or a politic show on, So yeah, I hate they aggravate the hell out of me.
Yeah, I'm not fond of them either.
I've never met one that I liked. Our governor right now in Florida, I have a lot of respect for. He's a good guy. He doesn't seem to be a self-interest piece where he just wants to promote himself to make as much money as himself. He seems to be a good, honest family man, and has good Republican values.
Let me ask you all this question. Maybe I can get a different take on this. Would you all accept this from Congress? Okay, we'll give you national carry like you're talking about, but we want red flag laws. We want a national database. We want gun control, assault weapons ban. What would you say then?
No. And then after that fails, we push forward again.
Well, the thing is, it's not going to fail. It's going to get pushed through, is what I'm saying. I'm not talking about something failing. I'm talking about actually going through. And that's what's going to happen. Just hypothetical there. That's a fact. Congress works that way. You can't just take out, you can take out a little bit of legislation, but particularly if that bill hits that floor and the politicians know it, it can easily go through. Everybody thinks that we can fight that. We can't when we don't have enough people. Right now, the Democrats can pass, if they want to, it only takes one person, Manchin, and another lady, a blonde lady out west. They can pass anything they want without one Republican vote. Not one. So everybody think about that.
Yeah, well,
the majority of the bills that go through Senate have to have a 60% majority.
No, not through reconciliation. They don't. Absolutely not. And that's where it's about to go, the reconciliation bill. So we do have the filibuster. That is good, and that is true. That 60 is very true. But reconciliation, it don't count. It's a maneuver, but they can get laws through and gun control. But a lot of you are probably familiar with that. What I'm talking about. Anyway, it was a hypothetical question. Just seeing what you all thought. Because most every bill that's come out of Congress the past few years has had some horrible stuff in it. every time.
Unfortunately, that's how it is with the two-party system.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there's nothing really you can do about just complaining about it. If you want to do something about it, you need to start calling your congressman and you actually doing something to fight it. And, anyone
Hopefully
can bitch about it.
Hopefully we can turn this around in the midterms and grab the entire Congress. But
with any luck, yep.
Yeah. All right. On that note, I'm just gonna call it a night. I've had enough talking about politics. I was trying to get something over here for barbecue. Brother, I'm trying to do the best I can with what I've got to work with. What are you basically trying to do the same thing? You're just trying to get your message out there is best you can with what you have to work with and who you have to listen to and talk to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the overall goal. The more people that I can bring into the fold for two-way, I think, is the better. Obviously, are they all going to be winners? No. Unfortunately, there's going to be some that are like, yeah, I like guns, but I also like this, that, and this. I'm like, oh, that's not going to work out in the end because, you're going to have to think about some of these things. But overall, I think there's a lot of people that are on the fence that we can bring into the fold. Just look at a year ago when, COVID happened. There's this mad rush, and they're saying we got 9 million new gun owners now, which is a fallacy in itself because I believe it was GOA had touted that these new gun owners, they're going out after they buy their first gun, which is a handgun, then they go and get a shotgun for home protection, and after they go and get that shotgun for home protection, they go and they end up getting AR or an AK or something, for like a freedom rifle and whatnot. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not a rocket scientist or anything, but I can do some pretty simple math. And if I take 3 guns divided by 9 million firearms owners, that's only 3 million firearms owners, because if they're doing each of those in separate transactions, then those 9 million extra 4473s and background checks that were done over more than any other year, then that, like I said, only leaves 3 million. And then if we really believe that all 3 million of those were brand new firearms owners, all that extra, if we got a 500,000 or even 1 million new firearms owners last year, that's freaking incredible. That's a lot of people that are being brought into the fold that never owned firearms before, and that's a big deal because it's not just one person. And a lot of people look at it as, oh, all these guns are going to hit the market again. I can't wait for that secondhand market to explode. That stuff's going to be real cheap. I don't want that. I want all these people to stay firearms owners because they have families, they have friends, and when you or I are sitting here talking about all this, we're looked at as the crazy gun person. But when their friend who voted for Obama twice and voted for John Kerry and all these other people for the last 20 years is sitting there going, yeah, I felt like I needed a firearm with all this crazy stuff going on, and then their friends are going, wait a minute, but that makes you a crazy gun person. But I've known you my whole life. You're not a crazy gun person. And then maybe that gets them thinking. Let's not forget to mention, again, they have families. So husbands, wives, depending on who brought the firearm, children, let's say each of those people only touch 4 other lives. Let's say that's only 500,000 people. That's 2 million people that they have potentially introduced to guns. That's nearly half of what the NRA touts as membership.
Yeah.
So that's a big friggin' number for 1 year. and that's bringing in a lot of new people. But with that, I want to bring in new people. I want to get my message out there, and just do what I can to try and fight for 2A. That was the reason I created my channel, was I felt like I wasn't doing enough. And like I said, G Webs and Patron in the Dark, big thanks to them for pushing me into it and giving me tips and tricks. But I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and I had a lot of free time at home, and I could be doing more. And here I am. So
Good thing, Guns. Good thing.
Appreciate it. So I'm hoping, like with the 2A Women Wednesday, these ladies that hopefully end up tuning in and catching this, they go, oh, that lady, her story's similar to mine. I could do that. I could get into guns. I never thought about that. And, I've got a small child, whatever it is. Hopefully they can relate. Again, with the barbecue stuff, that's a kind of a crossover for me. Maybe I got somebody that tunes into a barbecue video for making a brisket, and they're like, gun stuff. And, well, this guy doesn't seem too bad. He's not crazy. And, maybe they go and start looking at more gun content. And next thing you know, boom, we got somebody else. And, I just like to go with the rule of 4 for each of those people. But so for each of those people that we can bring in, they can touch 4 other people, even if they're not doing YouTube or Instagram or any creator content, just in their personal lives. If we think that they can touch 4 other people, whether it's their children, which I think is the best ones, because that's who are most impressionable for them. And that's what's going to help us get to, more acceptance and a better normalization of firearms in the end. So, just if I can get more people involved, and I'm DJing the crap out of everybody right now, I do apologize. But if I get more people involved, get my message out there, that's the end goal.
Yeah, I agree with you. If we can just touch a couple of people in our lives and get them moving in nothing more than a way than to accept firearms, not even to own one, just to accept them, and to, when you see one, not have the not have that feeling of oh, it's a bad thing. These are things that have been pushed upon us through years of TV, bad education on firearms, and just stereotypical thinkings about firearms as bad things. I'd like to see, like you do in small communities, where the sheriff waves to the guy taking his shotgun out of the truck after shooting skeet all afternoon, not thinking, oh, anything more than that's Jim down the street and he shoots skeet, and I wish I could have gone with him today and done, instead of having to work. That's the kind of thing I want to see. More traditionalist values come back to this country, where you're not so hypocritically thinking, what is that guy doing? What, you know what I'm saying? With still being with situational awareness, but more open to seeing people with firearms. Is what I guess I'm trying to get at.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Well, I appreciate it, John, for you coming on tonight and giving us, an idea of what you're about and what your channel's about, and where you're heading in your direction and what you're trying to get accomplished. I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for doing the logos for me and AR's channel, and the logo for tonight's thumbnail. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you are welcome. Anytime you want to get a topic out, you let me know and we'll get you on. Is there any questions in the side chat out there from anyone that needs to ask a question of us or barbecue here? go ahead and drop those in the side chat. I see Woods is out there.
Yeah, Drew's here. Drew says McDonald's has killed more people past 5 years. That's probably true. Absolutely.
Probably.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that. We just keep shoveling the cholesterol and the grease and the high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, you want us to talk about diabetes? How it's more than okay. Diabetes type 2 is being diagnosed in children now.
Wow.
So yeah. So that
kind of
eating
crap,
fast food and easy food, processed food.
food.
For several years, I've been borderline diabetic, which I think you and I have talked about this, Echo. Where,
yes.
My mom's entire side of the family, type 1 or type 2, doesn't matter. So I'm just like, eventually it's going to come. But with that being said, I've lost a ton of weight in the last couple of years. I think I'm down almost 180 pounds. With that being said, my last A1C was a 4.5.
Oh, that's good.
And that's no medicine, nothing. It's just everyday living.
Yeah, that's 4.5. Good. That's good.
It's almost low.
That is low. 5.6 to 6 is normal.
Yeah, I think the lowest that they'll go is a 4.0. So, I'm right there at the threshold, just about. And I was talking to my doctor. I was like, so do I start to say that I'm a borderline diabetic? She said, oh, yeah, they will never drop that off now.
Night, Chris.
Really?
Have a good one.
Just because I was at one time borderline diabetic, now I'm borderline diabetic for the rest of my life, even though my blood work all comes back fine.
They're just going to monitor you, but it probably could eventually develop into something like that. They just want to keep an eye on it, because if it's erratic, if it's low like that, you might have hypoglycemia. Yeah. Which is just another form of diabetes, where your blood sugar drops out normally versus going higher, it goes lower. Yep. So you might have a little bit of that. So they're probably just going to keep an eye on it for you. Which hypoglycemia is much easier to treat. You just always have a little package of crackers with peanut butter crackers with you, and you're good. Yep. But ladies and gentlemen in the side chat, thank you very much for coming out. AR, do you want to go ahead and read the side chat out?
Yeah. Good to stream. Hey, Squib's here. Squib Load, Michael Hurtnick, Eagle Eye, DJ Play Nice, good to see you. Uncle John, good to see you. Vanessa Kitty, always good to see you. See, Gun Loving Grandpa, did I call that? Let's see what we've got here. Drew Bradley, good to see you, Drew. Gun Loving Grandpa, Jer Bear Tactical, appreciate you dropping by. Andy 79Z28. Who else here? We got. Hang on, guys, I got to scroll.
Yeah, if I can get everybody in the side chat tonight to go ahead and write out Patriot.
Jerry Parker, good to see you. Critters here, MK Joe, Drew Bradley, I think I called. Midnight Range TM, not familiar with you. Good to see you in the chat. Appreciate anybody that drops by. D.M. Foss, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, DM Foss.
Okay, DM Foss. Yep. Okay. Yeah, good to see you. Who else? JH586 is with us. Midnight Range TM. I'm seeing people I'm not used to seeing.
A lot of from barbecue came over. I appreciate the shout out. Yeah, appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, most definitely.
Let's see, I think that's about it. I'm still scrolling, seeing the same people. Oh, PNW Woods, good to see you. Appreciate you dropping by. Boy, it's a long chat. You all been talking for quite a while. Or chatting, I should say, or typing. Let's see. That's about it. Oh, Senior Master Sergeant Bulldog, he's with us. Appreciate your drama. Reloader 762. Good to see you. As
Reloader
always.
762. I hope you're doing better, sir. I hope you're feeling better and your family members are feeling better too.
Yeah, we're praying for you. So. You gonna wind it down now?
Yeah. Did you get everybody? I just wanted to make sure everybody got called out. And just wanted to say thank you once again to Barbecue for coming on and sharing his information with us tonight and helping me with the reaching out across the gun community and bring more channels on so that people that don't know about certain channels can be introduced to them and meet the channel owner and what they're about and subscribe if they're interested. And so thank you very much.
Yeah. 01 guys here. Good to see you too. You just typed in here. So.
Well, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for everyone hollering out patriot. We all need to be patriots and a little bit as much as we can, even if it's just picking up a phone and calling our Congress people and let them know that we want to be left alone with these ridiculous gun law bills that they keep pushing forward. Tell them we won't have it. If you keep voting for it, we're going to replace you with someone else.
Midnight Range, Tim, good to see you. You gonna close it?
Midnight. Yeah, all right. And Midnight, you have a good one, brother. Nice seeing you in here. It's been a while since I talked to you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a good evening.